Hey guys, brief check-in for me today, or at least for right now, because I'm gonna go hiking with my family in a bit. But I just wanted to update you on my reading. I've started 2 new books today. I'm not sure what day it is. It'll say in the video. I started 2 new books, one of which is an audiobook. I'm doing a reread, but in audio this time, of How the Duke Stole Christmas. It just feels right. Like it's a Christmas anthology. I love all the authors. I know I've read it before and I really like it. And so it's like comforting to listen to right now. I'm starting Tessa Dare's, which is, I can't remember the name, but it's the one where the hero is a duke who owns the heroine's family home and they're being kind of like evicted or whatever. So she meets him at a ball. She's like, you suck. He's like, oh, you don't like me? I'm interested. So I'm really enjoying that one right now. And then the other one that I started today it's a KU title, but it's Bohemian by Catherine Nolan. My friend Shannon has been recommending this book for a minute. And I'm finally starting to read it, and this one's about a fashion model and the owner, well, he's recently inherited a bookstore in Big Sur, and she's got like a photo shoot there. So I started those 2 today. I'm really enjoying both of them. I'm really enjoying both of them, and I'm really excited to see where Bohemian goes. It's interesting because the hero is like Shannon told me the hero is like a dominant, but like it's again by day he's like super different from that, and that he's like kind of chill. He's like really introverted, really quiet. He like feels awkward a lot. And the heroine's like bright, splashy. She's a model. So intrigued to see how that continues. Hopefully I will check in a little bit later today, but we'll see. Hey guys, I believe it's day 20 of Vlogmas. And I have some reading updates. I don't remember if I mentioned that I finished the Tessa Dare audiobook, The Scandalous No Good Mr. Right, but I did finish that one. Super cute. No, I think I did mention that one. I did mention that one. Anyways, reading updates. I've listened to a little bit more of the Tessa Dare audiobook from How the Duke Stole Christmas. Continues to be fantastic. I've already read it. I know that it's solid. I finished Bohemian by Catherine Nolan. That one was really interesting. It's, I think I kind of shared the setup. A heroine is a fashion model. Hero inherited this like bohemian book club and bookstore in Big Sur. And he inherited from his uncle who passed away I think 2 months before the book picks up. And it's like super, super in debt. And the last like gig they have kind of set up is a photo shoot with the heroine as like the star. So they meet, immediately hit it off, and there's this whole kind of question throughout of like, is he gonna sell the bookstore, try and like recoup the losses? And the heroine is also like kind of dissatisfied in her job at this point. She isn't really like passionate about modeling as much anymore. I think she started at 15. So this whole book is kind of a journey with both of them kind of realizing they're in like a different stage of life, and like what they've been doing isn't really satisfying them anymore. And it's very sexy. He's kind of like a dominant. She's very much like a submissive, and although they don't like use like terms or anything, they just kind of start playing, which I typically struggle with because but I think that it worked here because it was really just like, oh, we want to have rough sex, and then they did. And it was very hot. I think they bang against a tree at one point. I did really like how they both kind of had their own arc. Like she was really figuring out like, this isn't really what I'm passionate about anymore, and like I want to write. And he was kind of realizing like, I want to try and make this dream of my grandfather's like continue to be reality. So yeah, that was fun. It's on KU. It was really hot. It was a little bit long, but it could just be that I've been reading a lot of very short, hot novellas recently, so. Other than that, I don't think I've finished another book. I do have, I did download a bunch of stuff from KU, one of which was A Lady's Champion by Mary Liscombe. I've heard so much about that one. I'm really excited to read that. But right now, I'm in the middle of, I've got the How the Duke Stole Christmas audiobook. I've got Bet Me that I still haven't read any more of. And then I really want to start The Duke and I, because at this point I think we're 5 days away from Bridgerton. So I need to get on that. I think I can finish that before the show comes out. We'll see. So yeah, oh, actually, so Katie Roberts released her newest Taboo book to her Patreon subscribers, and I am one of her patrons on Patreon, so I just got the third Touch of Taboo book. I think it's something about my dad's best friend, and I just started that, I want to say like an hour ago. I haven't been able to keep like solely focused. I've been, I was on a Zoom call. Actually, I have a couple friends from my book club, and they found out that my sister and I have never seen 50 Shades, and so they're like, we need to remedy this. So last weekend we watched the first movie, and then this weekend we watched, just now, we watched 50 Shades Darker, and it is really something to dissect film with people who read romance. Like, it was so fun. Like, there's a scene where she like puts on this like really expensive lingerie and then puts on a dress to go to this ball, and we all looked at it and we're like, there is no way she's wearing that lingerie underneath that silk dress. Like, it would completely show. Or like we'll guess lines periodically. Anyways, it is delightful. So I haven't finished it because I had that movie viewing, but it is so hot. Oof, it's so hot. Everything that I want. So yeah, I'm reading the Katie Roberts book, and Bet Me, and then I'm going to pick up The Duke and I. So I've got quite a bit on my plate, but I, as always, will keep you posted. I have a couple more reading updates for you today. I believe it is the 21st day of Vlogmas. I read 2 books, or I finished 2 books, I should say. The first was Katie Roberts' book. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, she just, she writes to my head. I will read every book that she ever writes. It is hot, it is fun, and I think it's actually interesting. I want to compare it / her writing to the book that I read, because the other one I read, I think I saw someone post about it on Instagram, but it was called, I think, Their Christmas Toy. I can't remember the author. I think Angela Wolf, maybe? I'm not sure. It was really hot. It's MFMM. Swords Don't Cross. And it's like a snowed in Christmas book. And I think I gave it maybe 2.5 stars. The reason being, it was like very, very hot, but particularly when it comes to like a full-length book, like even if it's just a hot book, like every scene should forward the plot in some way or another, even in erotica. And I think this one, like, it just didn't do that. Like, every scene was hot, like it was the whole read, but it was also like over 200 pages, at least the Kindle was. And I kind of feel like if you give me 50 pages, if you give me 100 pages, somewhere between 50 to 100 pages, or even less, under 100 pages, I'm not going to expect very much from like plot or character arc, because it's just a few pages. It's just like short, hot filth. But if it's over that, like, I'm gonna expect more. Like, I'm gonna want a little bit of character development. I'm gonna want a little bit of, like, I'm gonna want every scene to forward the plot. And I just didn't feel like this book had that. Like, it's the heroine works with these three guys. She's kind of always been into them, and they always go on vacation together. And so the one that she like starts talking to, Desmond, I think, he ends up inviting her to go with them to this cabin in Stowe for Christmas, and she finds like this diary of his ex-girlfriend that shared the exploits of all three of them. And when she finds out, she's like, this could be me if I wasn't playing. So they all end up together, and it's very hot, but there's not really, like, you don't really learn about any of them. Like, you learn that Desmond is an only child, and that's about it. And you learn that Alyssa went to Penn State, and they talk about watching movies. But, like, beyond that, you don't really learn. And oh, and they have some job in construction. And that's, like, kind of the extent of what you know about these characters. And I think, again, if it was 100 pages or less, that would be permissible in my mind. But it's like 200 pages. And it's just a lot of pages to cover with no plot drabble. And again, I have zero problem with that. As, like, as is evidence, there's a lot of books that I read because, not just because, but partially because they're very hot. But I didn't feel like I said, it was furthering the plot, and that was difficult. Whereas, like, even like the Katie Robert book, My Dad's Best Friend, like, even the scenes that were like just hot, it was exploring kind of like their dynamic, and it talked about like their relationship and how it had changed. And the other thing is, it was shorter, and so like it didn't have all of the details that I would expect in like The Beast. Like, you get all of the emotional backstory and like all of the dating like history. The Beast is one of my favorite of Katie's books. So you don't have as much time to kind of build that, but like you gotta utilize like every moment. And I don't feel like the Christmas gift toy. I don't feel like the Christmas toy did that. So I struggled with that book. It just didn't work for me as much. But like I said, it was very hot. Katie's book, I am not going to go too spoilery because it doesn't come out yet, but the heroine is an architect or architecture firm, and she's trying to get this guy Jonas, who's like one of her dad's best friends and someone who worked for her dad for a number of years, to work with this couple for this house. She really needs him to do it because they really want him to do it. And so she goes to his house, and she shows up, and she's like, please, will you do this? Because you're not answering my phone calls or my emails. And he's like, no. And she tries to kind of convince him, not like pushy, but like laser cards out on the table. And he's like, no, I've told you no, it's going to be no. But the thing is, she stepped into his house, and then a storm starts. So he's like, well, I guess you got to stay here. And her clothes are all soaked. So he's like, oh, I guess you can put on this t-shirt of mine. So she like is in his shirt, and she ends up staying over because, you know, it's a storm and it's not safe to travel. Well, what are they gonna do? So, and things get hot. It was so good. I don't think it knocks off the first book in the series, Your Dad Will Do. I don't think it knocks that off for best in the series, in my opinion. Just because that one was just like, yeah, so good. But it is on par. I mean, the whole Touch of Taboo series is incredible. So yeah, that's what I've been reading. I did just start, I think, Just One Bed. It's an anthology with a number of authors. I paused my How the Duke Stole Christmas re-listen to start the Immortals After Dark book for this week that I'm doing the group read with. And it is Dreams of a Dark Warrior. Not my favorite of the IAD books. It's a little tortury for me, but it is still very good. Kresley's incredible. And for those of you who have read the series, it's the one with Regan and Declan. For those of you who haven't, this book has been fondly referred to as Mr. Vivisection by Fated Mates. It is probably one of the harder books in the series. The hero does, technically he doesn't vivisect the heroine, but he has a role to play in her vivisection, so it's, but it is also some people's favorite book in the series, so Cressley Cole fans contain multitudes, I guess. So yeah, I'm listening to that one. I started the Just One Bed, and I really need to start the Duke and I posted about it today, so like, I put it out into the universe, it's happening. I probably will start that tomorrow, and I'll listen to it I'll read it while I drive to Twin Falls to go visit my grandma. So that's where I'm at right now. I'll check in again tomorrow. Alright, I believe it is the 22nd. This is a late night recording. I have the remnants of my glass of wine with some frozen fruit. And also a reading update. Yesterday and this morning I read an anthology called Only One Bed, and that was pretty cute. It was like, I think most of them were solid, like 3, maybe 3.5s. My favorites were, wow, I can definitely. So my favorites of the anthology were, I think Only One Truck Bed was Lucy Eden's, and that was really cute. It was like brother's best friend, friends to lovers, and they're driving to her older brother's wedding, to like his like best friend forever, I think. And so she's with her older brother's best friend, and they're like in the car, they have great chemistry, and then I think they both kind of like slowly figure out that the other person is like kind of liked them for a long time, and they're like, oh great, because I've also been into you for a really long time. And then, so they're trying to swerve to miss a deer, run off the road, and they call AAA, but like he's like right when that happens, I think he finds out that she's kind of always been into him, so he's like, I need to go sit in the back to like chill. And she's like, why would you do that? I'm into you. So she like goes and finds him, and then they bang in the back of the truck, and it's very hot. So I really liked that one. And then I also really liked Rebel Carters. It was a like friends to lovers, and then like broken hearts, and then second chance. But one of the heroes owns like a garden shop, and the other hero owns a hardware shop, and I can't remember their names, but one of them, like, they were best friends and like kind of had energy, and then they started to kind of like have friends with benefits situation, and one of them decided they wanted to go to grad school or some sort of higher education, and like didn't tell the other person until they like told everyone at like this bar in like kind of like a drunken stupor or something, and the other person was like super offended. I wish I remembered their names. Anyways, the first guy was like, I'm gonna go, and the second guy was super hurt, and like they didn't see each other for years, and then one of the heroes comes back after like going to school and starts a horticulture place, or God, what's it called? Like a nursery, a garden. And he, like, to buy local and like support the community, gets hardware from his like ex-best friend lover's hardware store. And there's always the tension when he shows up to deliver stuff. But one day they like kind of get into it, and as the hardware guy drives away, a storm starts, and I think the other guy like drives up to like see if he's okay, but then they both like their cars get like stuck because they slide on the wet road that's been like washed out, so they walk back to the greenhouse, and they're like covered in rainwater, and they're like angry and a little bit horny, and they make out, and it's hot. So those two are my favorites, but they're all really fun. Very short, quick reads, and it's on KU, so if you're looking for something that will fulfill those things, it's a good pick. So I read that, and I think tonight I'm finally gonna open Duke and I, because there's like 2 days until Bridgerton. I really want to read that before the series comes out, or at least before I watch it. But I did also just get, I'm so excited, I got an ARC of an upcoming book from Adriana Herrera, and it is a FF holiday short where one of the heroines is like, she either works for or is related to like Santa Claus, and she's like, I'm gonna take over for the day. And I've heard that it's very steamy, so we love. And I think I'm gonna probably read that tonight because it's a novella, so it's short. I promise I will start The Duke and I at some point. We will see. But yeah, I just read the anthology today. I have listened to a little bit more of Dreams of a Dark Warrior, and it's so funny. Someone in our group chat was like, oh, I like this one so much more than Demon from the Dark. And it's just like such an indicator of like eye of the beholder and like how everyone's favorite is a different one, because like I think that there's definitely like something special that Kresley's doing with Dreams of a Dark Warrior, but it's so just like it's a good book, but it's not my catnip, and Demon from the Dark is my catnip, so it's just kind of funny. Like I guess we all have those books that like it either is or isn't gonna do it for you, and like I said, it's still a good book, so I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna enjoy it, but I just can't beat Malcolm. He's my fave. So yeah. Oh, I also really liked this one from the anthology. It was female, and it was set in Australia, and it was on like a TV show set, and they had actually only booked one room, and so the like showrunner and the gal who was on the show, who's a baker, I think she was a baker, ended up staying together in the back of their car, and they like yeah, it was really cute. It was like the uptight one and the soft kind of carefree one, and they just like hang out under the stars and chat and bare their souls to each other, and it was really cute. I think it was by Rose Dahlia. I'll have to check, but I think it was by Rose Dahlia. So yeah, I'm listening to that. I'm gonna read the Adriana Herrera. I will start The Duke and I promise. So that's where I'm at for today. Short little update, but have a good one. Checking in for Vlogmas. It's the 24th day, and I know that because it is Christmas Eve. I didn't get a chance to chat yesterday because I was traveling to my grandma's, which is why you get to appreciate these beautiful drapes. But yeah, so I'm at my grandma's. I was driving all day yesterday. It's like a 9-hour drive. It's brutal. But I did some reading yesterday, and I did some today. I've read 3 Christmas novellas. The first one I read was Adriana Herrera's Her Night with Santa, and that one was really fun. It made me think of like The Naughty List by Ellie Mae McGregor quite a bit. Like it felt like along that same vein of just like bonkers holiday Santa Claus. But this one's female, and the premise is like one of the heroines is the niece of one of the kings, the Magi. I don't know the proper term, and she's like stuck in like a layover flight, I think in the Dominican Republic, and she's like trying to fly out to visit her family, but like she's stuck, and so she like calls her uncle and he's like, oh, I have a place you can stay, it's Chris's, like Kris Kringle. And so she's like, great, awesome. So she gets it, and it's like essentially like Santa's like getaway on the beach. And so she shows up and she's like, great, I have some time to myself. And also she's like a toy designer, like a sex toy designer. So she is like, oh, I've got some time to just have some me time. And then little does she know that Christina Kringle is finishing up like her work day on the sleigh with the only all-female team of reindeer. And so Christina shows up at her house right when Farnaz is trying out some of her new models for work. So it's so hot. It's just so bananas and like magical and delightful. It's a really quick read. It's on KU and it's also, or 99¢. If you're looking for something fun, hot, highly recommend. It's a great one. I also read All They Want for Christmas, which was by Andy J. Christopher. And that one was really interesting. I think I gave it 4 stars. I would probably be closer to like a 3.5. The heroine is like expecting to get proposed to and her boyfriend breaks up with her. And she's like really mad, not because she liked him, but because she like expected it. And she sees like this old flame of hers out with a guy. His name's Carrie. Is out with this guy Lucas, and so she like goes to sit with them, and they start chatting, and she and Lucas kind of hit it off, and Carrie, who's like very much the kind of like puppet master, is like, yeah. So Carrie and Lucas invite Francesca. Caroline's sitting with me, and she's being very cute. Carrie and Lucas invite Francesca over for drinks, and then it's a snowed-in situation, so the 3 of them are stuck together. And I think that one was like, it was fun, but I either wanted it to commit and just be hot, 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 and that was it for the novella, or I wanted it to have a little more of the like emotional arc be the main thrust of it, and I feel like that was there a lot. But I don't know, like I was like, either this should be a full length so it can kind of cover the breadth of like the relationship between these people and like the emotional things that are going on with Francesca and her family, or it should have just been short and hotter. So yeah, that was my thoughts there. It was fun. But I wanted, like, I feel like having read Andy's full lengths, I wanted a little bit more from it, like, because I know what she's capable of. So yeah, that was probably a 3.5. The other one I read, I read another Krampus book. I think it was Daddy Krampus was the title, and it did not work for me either, which was a bummer. Yeah, it was just like not hot. So that was a bummer, but that is what it is. So I read those 3. I've also finally started The Duke and I. I'm at, I think, 69. That's not true. I literally started this, it was so funny. This morning my mom's like asked everyone at the table, like, what do people want to get do today? And I was like, literally all I want to do is read this dang book. And we've just been so busy all day that I started it. I got like 20 pages read this morning, and then I said I was going to go to bed early, and I've been reading this upstairs in my room. I'm about like 90 pages in. And it's so interesting. I feel like there's been a lot of discourse about like this book and the series, and like it's all just very interesting. Yeah, it's just anytime I feel like you have a book that's 20 years old, like there's gonna be like a lot of like issues that are like very much of the time, and like this book definitely has that, and that's hard. Like I think I noticed in the trailer for the book they've changed how Daphne and Simon meet, because in the book this dude Nigel Burbrook is proposing to her, and he's like kind of assaults her, like it's like he just is like coming at her and like, oh, you have to marry me, you have to marry me, and like is coming at her, and she like punches him, and the Simon kind of like walks in on that and is like, initially he's like, oh, should I interrupt? Then he's like, no, I guess she's got it well in hand, and she punches him and he falls over. And then when Simon's like, oh, what are we gonna do? She's like, oh, like he's okay. He's like, doesn't mean any harm. And it was just kind of like wild, and also makes me kind of glad that they're not gonna do that in the show. they just don't need to. And I don't know, particularly I feel like reflecting on, whatchamacallit, reflecting on having read A Night Like This so recently, I'm just like, why are her heroines assaulted? I don't know, questions I have. So yeah, I'm 88 pages in. One thing that I really am enjoying in this book is like all of the like relationships, like the interactions with like Daphne and her mother, and like all of the three brothers, and like Daphne and her brothers, and even like Simon and the brothers, and then Daphne and Simon. Like particularly the family relationships I feel like are the ones that get me, because like it feels kind of like my family, and they're all kind of like sharp and witty and like funny, and yeah, it's just like playful, and like they're kind of mean to each other but in a way that's fun. So I really like that. And also Daphne and Simon are delightful. And also now I just like picture Simon as Regé Jean Page. I hope I'm saying his name right. But I just picture him as Simon, and it makes me really happy. So yeah, it is about 9:40 right now, and I have 260, actually about 270 pages to read. So here's hoping I can finish that, and I honestly might watch the first episode at midnight, so we'll see. So this is the end of my Vlogmas reading vlogs. I had so much fun. I love, as is clearly evidenced, I just really like talking about what I'm reading. For everyone who subscribed and watched and commented, I'm really grateful. Thank you for joining me. I'm really looking forward to continuing to upload videos, but I have a couple things planned that I'm really excited about. So thank you once again. If you liked any of this and you have not yet subscribed, please feel free. I will be happy to fill your ear holes with all of my thoughts about books and romance. Yeah, stay tuned for some fun things planned. Bye, guys.